Given that Duel Links is almost reaching its 2 global anniversary, I thought it was about time to sit down and take a look at some classic Yu-Gi-Oh cards from the original Duel Monsters era that haven't yet made it onto the mobile dueling field, despite either being such iconic cards used by key characters from the show, or simply being those that I and many members of the community thought should have appeared by now. So a big thank you to everyone who helped share their thoughts over on my community post last week. For reference, cards such as Pot of Greed, Mirror Force and Monster Reborn are absent from this list due to being usable with the PvE bonus card items. Without further ado, enjoy the video. At number 10 we have the obvious elephant in the room, Obelisk the Tormentor. It's no secret that the wider Duel Links community has been begging for this card to be added, especially since it's been nearly a full year since the last Egyptian god card Slifer the Sky Dragon was added as part of the first anniversary celebrations. Obelisk is by far the most powerful of the original 3 Egyptian god cards, outside of things like Ra Sphere Mode or Immortal Phoenix, so it's no surprise that it would be the last one to be added. With 4,000 guaranteed attack and defense points, unlike its counterparts who had to have skills added to make their effects more on par with their anime equivalents, the main reason Obelisk hasn't been added to Duel Links yet can be attested to its ability to not be targeted by spell, trap or card effects. Therefore in Duel Links, unless you're attacking over with a 4,000 plus attack point monster, the main outs to this card are traps such as Mirror Wall and Wall Disruption, with other alternatives like Floodgate Trap Hole being completely useless due to no cards being able to be activated upon normal summoning of this Egyptian god card. So really when thinking about it, maybe it is a good thing that Obelisk isn't in Duel Links just quite yet. Maybe in a couple of months. And number 9 is a classic Joey Wheeler card that was synonymous with the character throughout his Battle City duels and onwards, Scapegoat. I think it's pretty obvious why this one isn't in Duel Links. Scapegoat lets you summon 4 sheep tokens to your side of the field, but you cannot summon other monsters during that turn. The fact that Duel Links only has 3 monster card zones is a huge issue for Scapegoat seeing play, and while we have seen cards such as Crystal Beast Emerald Tortoise receive an errata to remove its main phase 2 focused effect, this card could easily be abused with the recently added synchro summoning mechanic. Even YuGiOh Wikia recommends using this card with Junk Destroyer, which on New Year's Day is getting released in the newest box, to destroy up to 4 cards on the field when it's synchro summoned. Due to Token's inability to be used for tribute summoning, they are completely useful with synchro summoning. For now, I guess you will have to be content with using Stray Lambs, which is available from an older box as a super rare. Next up we have 2 similar cards taking the 8 and 7 spot respectively, Spellbinding Circle and Shadow Spell used by Yamayugi and Seto Kaiba. Some of the most classic cards to be released in the original Evolution series of structure decks, these 2 cards work very similarly, by being able to target one of your opponent's monsters and stop from being able to attack or change its battle position. Shadow Spell has the advantage over Spellbinding Circle of being able to reduce that monster's attack points by 700, making it easier for you to beat over with weaker monsters. Usually these cards would be reserved for powerful boss monsters back in the day, but it's clear to see just why these haven't made their way into Duel Links just yet. Like other cards on this list, they would have slowed down the game drastically. Especially in the early days of Duel Links, these cards would have knocked your opponent out of a lot of plays unless they had other monsters tribute summon over it. They also would have comboed extremely well with the heavily played Lava Golem Burn deck, or even now could be used in things such as Uriah Trap Block, which definitely would be an interesting thing to see none the least. And number 6 we have Mystical Elf. At this point, if you haven't worked out, there's no real order to this list, just whatever order I thought up with the cards in. Mystical Elf is a level 4 vanilla with 800 attack and 2000 defense. Does that stat line remind you of anyone else? Maybe a certain elemental hero who we still only have 1 copy of despite his fusion being available at 3? Yet things such as Humanoid Slime and Earthbound Spirit are allowed to be at 3 despite having the same stat line. I fully expect Mystical Elf to be obtainable from the Epic Yu-Gi event coming in January, being one of his classic spellcaster cards used back in Duelist Kingdom and being kind of on theme knowing we're getting Magician of Dark Illusion. But if you're watching this later on after that event's happened, then I was probably wrong, and if I was, then scream me in the comments and I'll happily take the blame. Coming in at number 5 we have Mystical Space Typhoon. Now let me start by saying we will not get this card anytime soon. MST is a quick play spell card that simply reads, target 1 spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. Does it negate the effect of the spell or trap card you can destroy? No, but it's a quick play similar to Cosmic Cyclone, but without any cost to it. Cosmic Cyclone costs 1000 life points, which means that in certain situations you won't be able to play this card at all, nor would you really want to, just in case your life points get too low and your opponent is able to kill you that turn. The only other difference is that it destroys the card and sends it to the graveyard rather than Cosmic Cyclone, which banishes it. I think a lot of people were shocked when Cosmic Cyclone made its way into Duel Links so early in 2017, myself included, and with Galaxy Cyclone recently being added, giving more versatility to spell and trap card removal in Duel Links, part of me also feels like we will never see this card added to the game, just on principle. And number 4 is Swords of Revealing Light. Damn, Yugi had a lot of broken ass cards back in the original show. We have actually seen this card used in Duel Links in the original Tag Duel tournament as part of Yugi's deck, and you could actually use it back then if you controlled him in the second iteration of the event, and it's likely to resurface when the event returns for its 5 days iteration in mid-January. The reason for this card's absence in Duel Links has always surprised me, but seemingly like Spellbinding Circle, it's to do with Konami not wanting the game to be single-handedly slowed down by one card, which could potentially be run at 3 of in some decks, to allow players to stall the duel out in an unhealthy manner, rather than simply using the additional 3 turns to buy for time to draw into extra cards and to advance your game state and make you win the duel. Especially in a format where the battle phase is so important, being unable to access it for 3 turns is incredibly detrimental and would certainly cause a lot of upset from players, and in my opinion, inevitably cause Swords of Revealing Light to be hit on the Forbidden Limited list regardless of when we do get it in Duel Links. And number 3 is a classic card that saw some competitive play back in the day, being limited in 2005 to 2009 in TCG, and that's DD Warrior Lady. In nature, DD Warrior Lady is very similar to DD Warrior that we just got over a year ago in the Legendary Warrior Structure deck, around the time that the GX World was added to the game. DD Warrior Lady lets you banish itself and the opponent's monster it battles with after damage calculation. The main difference from DD Warrior is that DD Warrior Lady's effect isn't mandatory, which means you're allowed to control whether you banish the card or not. So if you attack into a weaker monster, or your opponent decides to attack into your monster with a weaker monster, you aren't also automatically losing your Warrior Lady as well, and losing subsequently a very powerful card that can be used to get over some of the game's more incredible, more powerful boss monsters later on in the duel. And number 2 is one of my favourite cards of all time from the original Duel Monsters anime, and a card that in the TCG first debuted as a promotional card for the Ultimate Edition product set, containing 2 packs of Dark Revelation 3, one of Yu-Gi-Oh's earliest reprint sets, Dragon Master Knight. This guy is a fusion of both Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and Black Eyes Soldier, the original one that is, with 5000 attack and defense, so really, it's not worthwhile going for over the original Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, just for a 500 attack points increase and having to run extra cards in the deck. The thing that's always shocked me is that we got Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and BLS so early into Duel Links' life. We got Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon in the first Ultimate Rising, and then BLS in Celtic Compliance, which was like 5 or 6 main sets down the line. So I think this card would have been a prime candidate for either like a Duelist Chronicles event or something similar afterwards, but we never got it. Its effect isn't that great either, only gaining 500 attack for every Dragon type monster you control except for itself, so due to Duel Links' 3 zones per player, you're maxing out at 6000 attack, which isn't really that great for a boss monster that is as hard to summon as Dragon Master Knight really is. A fun anime card used by Yugi and Kaiba at the end of Duelist Kingdom, as well as in the Orichalcos arc against Darts, but one for some reason that we have never seen come to Duel Links to this day. And finally at number 1 we have Chaos Emperor Dragon. Okay, just kidding, I don't think anyone expected that to be in Duel Links anytime soon. Instead, I have chosen Inferno Fire Blast. Now, this is a card I personally expected to see, since Kaiba had Bursting with Destruction, a very similar support card for Blue Eyes decks, as one of his early level up rewards. It was actually level 21 I think it was, so you could get it on the first day of Duel Links being available. Inferno works very differently though, in that it deals the opponent damage equal to Red Eyes Black Dragon's original attack of 2400, but Red Eyes Black Dragon cannot attack for the rest of the turn. If this card was at 2 or more in Duel Links, then it would have been incredibly easy to OTK, especially since Red Eyes decks were so prominent in 2017, with both traditional Red Eyes Black Dragon and Red Eyes Zombie Dragon variants, thanks to cards like Red Eyes Insight and Red Eyes Spirit being Super Joey event reward cards and being so easily available. I don't think we'll see Inferno anytime soon. Honestly, looking back now, I don't want to see it come at all. Although the Red Eyes deck is one of my favourites to play in the TCG, the strategy mainly focuses on burning your opponent for a large amount of damage at a time. Some of the Duel Links have been actively trying to avoid, with its lower starting life points of 4000 compared to the TCG's 8000. And that's it, 10 classic Yu-Gi-Oh cards that aren't playable in Duel Links, but at some point we consider that they should be. Let me know your thoughts on what classic cards you think should have been in Duel Links by now. Maybe next time we'll go over some more of them, or we'll go into the GX era and explore the Hell Canada worms, because there is a lot of cards that I think fans of both the show and TCG probably thought Duel Links would actually have 2 years in, and we still haven't got them yet. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Duel Links video. See you then.